that has big time camp. What the movie will be the ultimate champ. You might think you're crazy, might think they're diseased, but they're watching all their chance to find the best of beasts.
We rate each movie in 5 categories, none of which are objective quality.
It's Stan, G, and Jack and Nick who watch it till it's finished, because the love for this movie can be diminished. And maybe the film's plot has no rhyme or reason, but that's a part of charm.
Colin's breath is off the season.
It's low budget film that is much true. They find a flick that monster boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo.
Yakmala! Yakmala! Welcome back, my friends, to the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. This is Season 11, Enter the Octagon, where we are bringing up a whole bunch of seasons, and something's going to get chosen at the end, and crazy shit's going to happen, because it's the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and I am so happy to be with you, and I am joined by my good friends. I've got James Kata.
I am thrilled to be here with my friends forever.
That's right.
Forever through eternity.
Yeah.
That's subtle reference.
Show honesty.
Very few of us got.
You show honesty, loyalty.
See, we are Boogaloo. We are BFFs, Boogaloo friends forever. But and
right.
All right,
we stick together through thick and thin.
Jack Hall.
So hurry up so we can get to talking about this movie.
Yeah.
Get to Nick. Let's get going.
All right, Nick Boxer, say hi.
Greetings and salutations. I am so excited to be here to talk about 80s the movie.
There's no questions about that.
Pretty close. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
All right. Well, 80s the movie in this case is called Miami Connection, and it's part of my season. So I called my season One Shit Wonder. Now, there is just some movies out there where they are pretty much conceived, executed in most cases by a guy who does like one movie, and that's what we got here. This is our One Shit Wonder. YK Kim, who knows what the hell he was thinking, but he worked on Miami Connection, did a lot, and yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if he did it well or not, but I think we're gonna talk about that. So, Nick, tell us what this movie is about.
I have never been so pleased to present a synopsis of a film than right now. In Miami Connection, which takes place in a world where guns do not fire. We have a Romeo and Juliet story betwixt a rock band of taekwondo enthusiasts who are orphans and a group of drug dealers tangentially associated with a motorcycle ninja gang.
Also a regular motorcycle gang for some reason.
Yeah.
I didn't actually get they were part of a regular... There were a lot of bikers.
Two different bikers. Two different sets of bikers.
Okay. So, yeah, it's basically Romeo and Juliet. I don't have to explain any more than that. Other than there's ninja action and rock band shit.
And taekwondo. Don't forget.
Probably don't have to explain any more. Just explain it by saying it's Romeo and Juliet. If it was 5% Romeo and Juliet.
I don't know if I can't have trouble understanding this one or Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, like I'm not sure which one Nick hasn't watched, but apparently one of them, because I don't see.
There were some modifications made, but there's some star-crossed lovers action there.
I do love that. Nick mentioned.
I mean, if Juliet really, really hated her brother, That's what it would have been.
It's like if Juliet was Juliet, but Romeo was like Bob, because he's got no family to speak up for.
He has the other orphans. They're a family. It's not a 1-to-1 translation.
No, a 5% translation.
I give this
best.
an 8 for WTF. Thank you.
Yeah, I gave your explanation an 8.5 out of 10. Because I'm allowed to give it on your explanation. By the way, you didn't know that, but we have a running list. It's a whole other octagon we keep going just for your explanations.
I love this. The bit where there's a woman who is not the main character of the story, and a guy who is definitely not the main character of the story, who a lot of the plot revolves around them, despite not being the key to the story.
And not even close. Like, really, they are simply.
It's like the most established B plot ever.
It's probably like the most accurate way to actually describe this movie is like that.
And it's not. And I'm not sure it is the most well-established B plot, because they have the whole other B plot of the one member of the band and his father, which becomes an enormous B plot.
See, I have that as a WTF because that didn't even make sense.
You think?
Because so much of the rest just made
some movies have third act problems. This one's not great on the first or second way there. It's like it's almost like an anthology story the way they move around. Like they resolve the love story part with a good 20 minutes left of the movie.
I'm just glad that the ninjas at the beginning actually did show up again, because I was beginning to wonder. It's like you reach
I actually
70
thought
minutes.
Those ninjas were the drug gang, but the drug gang had one fat guy, and I couldn't figure out. Because the ninjas disappear at the beginning of the movie, after the beginning of the movie, and then they reappear at the end.
And then they're back after 75 minutes of the 84-minute movie.
So
he doesn't want to keep using them. He's got the gang. He's got the other gang.
So the star-crossed lovers, how long do you figure they've been together?
Oh, like a week.
At times they're madly in love, and at times like her brother's just found out about this guy.
Yeah. Her brother's finding out for her, by the way, was her walking over to him with, "You got to meet my brother. I don't really like him much." Oh, yeah. So they walk over to the brother, and she goes, "Hey, this is a friend of mine from school." And her brother gets all angry and goes, "A friend?"
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Right before that, she tells him about her family background. And she says, her parents died and my older brother took care of me and we had such a hard go of it. And, he kept me off the streets. And he goes through all this. And I was like, how long have you been dating that this is the first time you've mentioned any of this? It hasn't come up before now that you're an orphan. You've got to explain it in the quad on their way over to run into your brother.
No, isn't this sort of common for 80 movies though? I mean, didn't the exact same thing sort of happen in Kung Fu Boogaloo, Electric Boogaloo, Breaking 2, Electric Breaking 2, that's it.
I wanted to help him, and on the other hand, I was enjoying it. I was like, do I jump in here and say the title, or just let Nick keep going?
In my mind, there is no question that this movie does more to try to explain the backstory of more characters than any other 80s movie I have ever seen of this ilk. Except for YK Kim's character, who they didn't bother explaining whatsoever, other than the fact that he's a taekwondo master.
In a band.
Who doesn't
These
play
guys
an
are
instrument,
busy.
even though...
It struck me. These guys are busy. They're all going to school full time, and they're in a successful band that's got a nightclub gig.
That's right.
And they do taekwondo.
Yeah. And
find work somewhere, because they mentioned going to work.
Yeah. No. I mean, this.
That's what you could do without social media. You could do all of
the
these
band
things.
was the work. They were getting paid.
No, because they mentioned getting other work. Like one of the guys says, like he's going to go out and get another job.
Somehow I missed that clear.
No,
Plot.
I think he was the Israeli guy who wanted to quit the band gig because
I don't know. The band as itself as an 80s band music, because
Dragon
they
Sound.
had some songs
Dragon
in there.
Sound.
Dragon Sound, not bad. Not so good that we had to hear all the full song both times. Not bad.
I did have a question about the band for you guys, though. I am not a musical guy whatsoever, but watching the band, I was pretty sure there were 3 guitars, a keyboard, and drums in that band. However, I did not see a bass guitar among those 3 guitars. Did anyone else notice?
The bassist was the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Was the okay.
And keep in mind that we can call YK Kim's Mark the rhythm guitarist of Dragon Sound, but I would know for a fact that he does not play a guitar at all.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, I saw everyone sort of do like the little solo dance thing, and since I'd never seen a bassist do that.
Why can't Cam manage to clap in time, let alone play that rhythm guitar?
Oh, there's this unbelievable.
I can confirm that the actual instructions was play the guitar like you think you know how to play it.
Yes. Oh yeah, because it's only in like the first song that he's playing, and he's like just playing away like you'd think that you would play a guitar, which you don't. Just like driving, it's like that thought that you drive by like swinging your hands wildly because that's the way the 1950s showed it. It doesn't work like that. Then afterwards. In the second song, YK Kim gets to the point where he's just kind of holding the guitar, or maybe not even doesn't even have the guitar in his hands, and he's just kind of bouncing around and dancing. He's really the spiritual leader of the band. What I found interesting is that it appears that there are some members, like the one guitarist and singer, he actually appears to know what he's doing. So I assume that he actually is in a band, because when it comes time to taekwondo time at the end, he's pretty much not around, because I don't actually think he's an actor with a taekwondo background.
They had to get a couple real musicians in.
Yeah.
They got a couple of real musicians in. And most of the actors were students of YK, because he ran a taekwondo school. So those guys were just, that's why they knew some martial arts, but shittily.
And that's also why they were more than happy to let him feed them grapes.
Yeah, probably.
Because that wasn't awkward at all.
There's the bikers that showed up. Those bikers were paid with beer.
Well, I mean, yeah. Oh, there's so much. There's so I don't even know where to begin.
It's an amazing piece of cinema. Like it's one of those. It's like you couldn't redo it. You couldn't do it on purpose. It's only you can only make something like this by not knowing what the hell you're doing. And also, by the time you've made one film, you'd know better.
Yeah, and by having the weirdest friends, like the fact that YK, like you say, the fact that he brought in his own students, the fact that they paid a biker gang in beer, and it's so painfully obvious when you're watching it, and it's just like, I would love to know where all this stuff came from. Like this is one room when they were laying down the concept for this movie and trying to write a script, and I'll use air quotes in that, but I love I would love to be a fly on the wall and just hear them talking about this movie, because I feel like YK Kim is really trying to sell a message in this movie. And I really
put everything into this, dude.
Yeah,
like he put his whole livelihood on the line. He put his schools up to finance this film. I mean, he almost went completely bankrupt, and because he was a very popular teacher in Orlando, and was famous enough in South Korea that he was actually seen on TV by South Korean director who directed Richard Stanley. That's how the film came together. He saw him on TV, and they decided to do a movie together. Convinced him to do the movie. So it's like, I mean, he definitely wanted to get the spirit of Taekwondo and what's special about it out there. It wasn't just for him. It was make no doubt about it. When we score no heart with budget, if any of you give it a low score, I'm going to be really pissed at you, because this thing, despite all its flaws, it's loaded with heart.
Now, was this actually released in the 80s?
Yeah.
The copy we saw was actually Alamo Draft House release, so I was kind of curious if it was filmed and then only recently uncovered.
It was released in 1987 in Orlando, in the area where it was. They released it, and it was actually screened at Cannes, believe it or not, which is amazing.
That would be so brilliant.
And after it was screened, he thought it was going to be the biggest thing ever. Like, he thought this was going to be a huge movie, and he ended up taking it to Hollywood, and everyone told him it's trash, and he told them it's trash. So it just disappeared. But a few people that had seen it around town, the legend of it kind of grew, and then that's how Draft House ended up. Somebody ended up eventually getting a copy, and I guess they kept on phoning him, asking him if he had a copy, and he kept on. They wanted to show it. They wanted to show the film. They were sure that they could do one of those midnight reviews of the cult movies, and thought they could sell a bunch of tickets for it. And he didn't believe them. He hung up on them like 20 times before eventually he was convinced that it was real, and kind of the cult thing took off from there once they actually got some midnight showings of it, and because it's one of those films that you can't not enjoy, not because they did anything right, but for the other reason. So yeah, it's like a fascinating movie in many ways. But yes, it was released locally in Orlando, but no national release or anything like that. No, of course not.
Their love of Taekwondo is kind of heartwarming. I mean, they basically stopped the movie partway through to make a little Taekwondo ad. Yeah. They have all the students. They have the messages of Taekwondo will bring world peace.
I enjoyed that part. Again, it is completely out of nowhere, but then with this movie, see, when we talk about Transylvania Twist, you come to expect things just popping up out of nowhere no matter what. It's the same thing that occurred in Miami Connection, where you came to expect things popping out of nowhere, but they were absolutely non sequitur versus everything else that occurred in the movie.
I can honestly say there's not a scene in this movie that belongs in this movie, but somehow as a whole it works. Because the whole missing father subplot, every time it was brought the movie to a grinding halt.
That is the single best scene of acting ever.
Oh yeah, I marked down that's the Oscar reel. That's the one that when he's up for Best Actor, that's the scene they'll play.
That's the for your consideration moment. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it stops the movie dead, but then you go, okay, let's just go with this.
Well, yeah, because it's so ridiculous to see this guy so emotional all of a sudden saying, my mother was Korean, my father was Black American, and she gave me a picture when she was real sick, and I was only 9 years old. And then somebody else going, I didn't know you had a father. I thought we were all orphans.
You've never mentioned this up till now.
And then his father was supposed to be dead at one point because they said, "Oh, and now we're all orphans." And then near the end, the father's alive suddenly, and it's just like, "Oh, it's so beautiful."
Yeah, that's right.
And then they're like, "We have to get enough money to get a suit for you because your father turns out is here."
Yeah, you got to meet him at the airport, and then you get shot on the way, and you get killed. Except for the fact you're not killed, you're just at the hospital at the end. I don't even know.
He doesn't get shot; he gets sword stabbed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's more likely.
No. I'm just mentioning it because it's important to know no guns are fired in this movie.
That's right. Thankfully, Miami, known for its strict gun control laws.
Yes,
yeah.
That's right.
There are 2 guns in this film, and they're both used as clubs.
It's policed by ninjas and Taekwondo gangs and biker gangs. You have a whole bunch of different gangs, and it's just so they have no use of guns.
No,
it's good.
No,
it's good.
Because again, everybody knows martial arts.
It's exactly like the 80s. I mean, come on.
It's just Want to score it?
Yes, I'm ready to score this.
All right. In our search for the ultimate B movie, we rate each film in 5 categories, none of which are objective quality. The first category we call schlock appeal, and we start with Stan.
Well, there's a short list of movies that are truly amazing to watch, that make you laugh out loud, that make you question everybody's sanity in making it, but just the fact that it's so got everything that you could possibly want just kind of crammed into one movie. This is one of those movies. I'm giving it a 10.
Somebody on this podcast once asked me what my definition of Boogaloo is. This is it. This is schlock. This is what I want to see. This is the kind of movie that I want to find. 10 all the way.
I got an 8 on it, so that is lower than you guys, but I still loved it. I mean, I can't say the schlock appeals for me. Like, the bar is set so high in the films that have gotten 9s and 10s, and I think I enjoyed this one just slightly less, but it's still a great schlock B-movie Boogaloo experience.
We got ninjas. Then we've got ninjas on motorbikes. Then we got drug dealers. Then we got ninjas fighting ninjas. Then we got a rock and roll video. And then we've got an ad for Taekwondo.
And we're not even through half an hour yet.
And that's 20 minutes in. And then we have a biker gang that's not the same bikers as the ninjas.
Don't forget that there's a scene where they infiltrate the bad guy's base, and it's basically every cliche moment from every infiltration of every base you've ever seen in your life. Oh, man.
10 for me as well. More heart than budget.
Well, in my opinion, we have discussed more heart than budget. This has all the heart, and I don't give a shit what the budget is. 10.
Oh,
Reported $1 million.
I'm just going to throw a 9 out there. I think maybe they could have gone a little bit harder, but a 9 is an awesome score. So,
yeah, I think 9 is right. I'll go with 9. Again, there's not that moment where I went, how did they pull that off with the money? But the fact is, there's no doubt that all their ability, which was minimal, went into this.
I think this is all the heart. I think I think it shows that they believed in themselves more than anyone ever would have believed in them,
or should have,
or and an appropriate amount is what they should have. 10 for me as well. What the fuck moments?
Okay. Well, see, now this was one of those cases where I just started writing notes, and I realized that I could probably just write a note for the whole movie, but there's a bunch of stuff. So there's the things that I found amusing. There's a biker wearing a ninja t-shirt, which I found especially amusing given that there was a whole bunch of ninjas in the early part. One of the bikers wore a noose around his head. I'm like, oh, it's sweet. It's a nod to Watchmen. Somewhere in Miami, the PK or YK and the guitar, that right there was awesome. There's a part where the club owner he's confronted by the old band that got Dragon Sound replaced, and even the club owner knows how to kick ass using martial arts, which I just love.
That was amazing.
The Taekwondo is a way of life from the Dance Ninja song. I mean, this needs a soundtrack. The one thing that I found most what the fuck though, I think, is when the ninja leader goes to the biker gang hangout to drink and meets the other biker gang head, the brother there. And it's so out of place because suddenly that's where we get the nudity, that's where we get bikers, that's where it's just like, you just brought cameras to real bikers and just started shooting shit. That's basically all that scene was. I mentioned it before, YK, Mark's character feeding the band grapes, which was just really freaking weird. And then like there's a part where the bad guy dies and you can still see him breathing. I mean, just quality moments like that. This one, it's all over the place. It's a 10.
Yeah, this one's going to score high for me as well because I mean, you can't get lost in this movie because the soundtrack will tell you exactly what's going on in any given scene. Because you want to know what's going on with band. They're singing about ninjas and breaking boards on screen. You need a friendship song. They got their Thick of Thieves thing when they go to the beach. Amazing soundtrack that is just a little too on. And then you also have things like the dubbed in sexual, what now is considered sexual harassment, going to the beach. And they get the phrases wrong. Like, you can obviously sort of hear that they're wanting to say things like they don't like buns like those in bakeries, but they say butts in bakeries. And like, how do you get that wrong?
It's like the opposite of TNT's overdubbing, where they did it themselves, and TNT's like, this doesn't make any sense unless we say something different.
The fact that like drug dealers don't use guns. I mean, they're moving substantial amounts of coke, and let's just get the guy with the knives to guard it. It doesn't. It's just weird. The ninjas are my favorite kind of ninjas that dress in white.
Storm Shadow ninjas, I always call them.
That's exactly right. That's what I was thinking.
That's how you hide in the dark.
Yep.
In
Miami.
In Miami, it's very bright. It's very bright all the time, so you gotta hide in the light.
The fact that the bad guy gang, ninja gang, actually refers to themselves as, let's send in the Miami Ninjas. 9.
Yeah, it's got lots of WTFs. It's very, very strong. I think I think the fact that the end scene is like a 15-minute fight where it's broad daylight in a park, but there's nobody there. And nobody shows up despite these guns and stuff like that, and people seeing on the cars and stuff like that in the street where it starts. Nobody shows up or anything like that. To me, that's a big WTF. Just that point. I mean, a line like the one where the head ninja dude says to the gang part, "If you want to own that territory, you got to get rid of that band." Because typically bands are what you have to get rid of if you want to run crime in an area, just things like that. But I don't think, as far as WTF's ones that I'll remember 2-3 years from now, like some of the most iconic movies, WTFs, I wouldn't put them at that level. So I'm only going to go an 8.
I will go with a 9 on this. I was going to say that it's not just that line about the house band either. Like, a huge chunk of this storyline, well, quotation marks, revolves around getting this band to quit their job so that the bad guys can get their house band back into that job. Because the key to this entire neighborhood, this entire drug dealing sector, is that being the house band of this bar. I also got to say that I was a good halfway through the film before I realized that the guy that was the leader of the bad guys and the guy that ran the band, both beardy middle-aged guys, weren't the same guy.
I know.
The guy who ran the band, that guy was a real-life district attorney in the neighborhood. It was one of his students.
That's awesome.
It is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, that guy right there, like that, the fact that you've got this incredible mashup of storylines where it's just like, why okay, forget it.
Now, this doesn't really count as WTF because I think it was different actors, but did anyone else wonder if both the guy who was searching for his father and his father were played by the same actor at one point?
No, they were not.
I was pretty sure the father was just the same actor in a gray wig, but they do appear in the same shot.
I actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I did think that. You're right. I did think that because and then I saw that their faces looked totally different. But because it was clearly a guy who was young, who they had made his hair gray, in order to look older, because they clearly could not find a black man that age who could play that was the one student they didn't have in the school, so they had to get a guy and color his hair gray. So I thought it was too, actually, now that you mentioned it.
There was one little thing that it was like one of the bad guys in the biker bar is wearing an Outward Bound hat.
Yes, that's right.
Outward Bound is like it's like a outdoorsy
thing for troubled youth.
For troubled youth, the U.S. Peace Corps was patterned after Outward Bound. That gives you the idea of what kind of organization it is that the biker is wearing in the biker bar.
Real-life biker, made with beer.
I love it. Memorable moments, Stan.
What was your score?
I gave it a 9. I said right away, though.
Oh, okay. Okay, I missed it.
I didn't hold the suspense the way
suspense.
This movie did.
That's right. All right.
Didn't ramp up the tension the way this movie successfully did.
That's good. Good point. Now, we just talked about the old band that was trying to replace Dragon Sound to get their job back, and the leader of that band, who was fantastic. Now, he has a moment where he goes to the brother of the girlfriend who is in Dragon Sound, and he says that if you get my job back for me, any money I make is yours. So
yeah.
I was sitting there thinking,
that's the weirdest damn deal.
What the hell is the point of getting your job back then? Because
why do you want it back if you get... Yeah.
Well, because it's the linchpin of their drug empire.
Yeah, exactly. Even though...
Let's spend money to make money.
Yeah, even though they don't necessarily know each other that well, but who knows? There's so much in this movie that I am going to think back on YK Kim and his performance, because I love the fact that he's just frickin' way older than everybody else in the band. It's like grandfather, and then you've got a whole bunch of kids in the band. But he's going to school too, so it's all good. And there's this brilliant scene where the guitarist singer is writing a song, and he's like, "Hey Mark, come on over here. I got something to show you." YK Kim looks at it and he's just like, looks good. And I'm like, you have no fucking clue, do you, whatsoever, what looks good when it comes to music. But, so, I mean, for me, this is a really memorable movie. It's not perfectly memorable, but it's really close. I'm giving it a 9.
Yep. I can honestly say I'm not sure how memorable any one thing is in this movie, but since I may never stop watching it, this is... I'm gonna watch this movie once a week. I loved it. 9.
Yeah, for WTFs, it's strong. For memorable moments, not as strong for me. I got a 5 on this. It's but I mean, sort of remember the music, and I guess I remember the fact that for a martial arts taekwondo master, he sure didn't seem that good at it, really. But yeah, like memorable moments are it's the movie is memorable, but the movie's memorable for the WTFs and the schlock and all that stuff, not so much the moments that they created on purpose. So I only got a 5.
I'm going to split the difference with a 7 on this. I think I'm going to remember that it was the Night of a Million Zillion Ninjas. It's that drug dealing movie that doesn't have any guns in it. I guess maybe Scarface owned all of the guns in Miami, and no one else had any. That's all I could imagine. And the weird plot point of it, all revolving around the. I'm sure every time I watch this, I'm going to try to figure out why the host band is the key to this whole plan.
And we got a contender here, boys. We got a contender.
Our final category is called Crazy Concept.
Well, you just said it. The house band is the crux of the Miami drug trade for some unknown reason. And I think the thing that gets me is the fact that you've got the old band who is going to the biker gang. Or so the old house band tries to kick Dragon Sound's ass. doesn't work, Dragon Sound kicks their ass. Then the bikers come in, and some of them get their ass kicked by Dragon Sound. And then more bikers come in and get their ass kicked by Dragon Sound. And then the ninjas come in and get their ass kicked by Dragon Sound. And I'm like, well, shit. This is the toughest band in the universe right here in Miami. But the fact that if you took Dragon Sound out of the story, you would still have like a core movie in and of itself. And I don't understand any of the working parts. I can't imagine them trying to explain this to somebody in a way that made possible sense. This is a 10.
I have to disagree with you. Just on the basis of it's kind of a trope in 80s movies. You know, those darn kids are the problem. If you're going to have drug dealers fight anybody, it's like the local kids. Like, if it wasn't a rock band, it would have been the breakers down the street.
But ninjas.
Well, yeah, ninja. It's just don't get me wrong. It's crazy. I just don't think it's like 9 crazy. I'm only thinking it's a 6 crazy.
6 is my same score too. Like I'm pretty sure I've actually seen this exact same plot. Exactly. Like on some movies from Hong Kong, like from the 80s. And if not, it's just the idea. Yeah. I mean, it's just, hey, okay, we're gonna do a martial arts movie, and we're gonna have ninjas. So that's fine. Those ninja movies, they were everywhere. Shokusage and all that stuff around at the time. And hey, what do you have? Drugs and street gangs. That's it. And then you just throw them together, and it's like, and if it doesn't make sense, you don't care. It's not the concept that's crazy. It's just that it's actually really 80s. It's as 80 as it gets. Yeah, I'll stick with 6 though. I could even go lower.
I think you've misunderstood the pitch of this movie, because the pitch of this movie, the reason this movie exists, the reason that they all wanted to make it is they wanted to get the message of Taekwondo out.
Well, no, the reason they wanted to make it was because the director saw the guy on TV and convinced him to make a movie because martial arts was hot. Well, that martial artist decided he wanted to get Taekwondo out there, but it took some convincing. It's not like he jumped at it right away. He didn't want to do it at first. So
I don't think we've ever backtracked a movie that we like. That instead of imagining how you would pitch it, you actually like found some making of. and imagined you were in the room listening to the pitch as opposed to pitching it. All right, I guess that takes all kinds. That brings us to the end of balloting. Each season we have.
I don't think you gave a score, did you?
Didn't I? Well,
I didn't.
Every other time I said it first, I figured I must have. Well, you jumped down my throat on the Taekwondo thing so fast that I didn't give it a score. 9 is what I gave it a score. Okay. And this film does not get any of the secret modifiers, except we got to roll the die for the Will of the Gods modifier. This season, we're rolling an 8-sided die. If the number 8 comes up, bad news for the film. It is a 7. It's fine. It's safe.
Right.
Ooh, barely.
All right. That brings us to the final total of 86.5 out of 100.
Oh, we got it!
Tying for the third place.
Nice.
Tying for third place.
I thought that beats it. I thought that beat Ninja 3. No?
Ninja 3 is an 87.5.
Oh.
Flesh Gordon.
Oh my god. You're kidding.
It ties Samurai Cop at 86.5.
Oh,
man.
you're kidding. I was so happy for a moment there.
Okay. You guys had only, if you hadn't done so much research on the pitch sessions,
Yeah, that's right.
you hadn't listened to the freaking DVD commentary.
Well, but how about that? Maniac knocked off the top. Shit Wonder is now the leading contender, and it's going to be almost impossible to knock off to be next season's year, But hey, we're having great movies this year.
I gotta say, I'm thrilled that we got something in the top 5. I'm challenge that One Shit Wonder is by far the hardest one to find.
I know. Because the funny thing is that I came up with this concept largely so that I could watch Miami Connection.
And the great thing is, there like a few of the movies we have already done that would have scored pretty well. In this, we've already done that would be one-shit wonders.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah. So I guess Samurai Cop wouldn't count. That would be a two-shit wonder.
Would be close,
All right.
though. I think it could be judged on one shit wonder largely because
I think so.
Yeah,
it's in the spirit of a one shit wonder.
That's
when
right.
you wait 20 years to make the sequel because you found out people, and then you try and make another Boogaloo movie not knowing what you did wrong the first time, and the director and writer is gone. Like, that's a whole. Yeah. God bless this show.
All right. Let's do some business.
All right. We are sponsored by WeTalkPodcasts.com. That is the website that is the home of the Octagon, where you can soon see this movie taking tied for number 3 in the pile of what will be 88 films at the end of this season. And they also have a Facebook and they have a Twitter, which will keep you updated on what we're doing. And also, Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo is on Instagram. And you should subscribe to our show on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app.
All right. Well, I enjoyed the hell out of this episode, and I also enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This is one of those movies that I thought was like near Boogaloo perfection for my taste. Next episode is going to be Jack's "Don't Go in the Woods, Don't Go in the Water" season, where we will be talking about Spookies from 1986. So I
just want to say to everybody, this is available on Tubi. Do go watch it.
Yes.
Go watch it for free.
It's worth it. So I don't know what to expect from Spookies coming up next, but it's going to be hard to top tied for third place now. But really so far this season has been going really well for us. So I'm having a great time. Excellent. Okay, so does anybody else have anything to say before we wrap this episode up? All right, season 11. Enter the Octagon carries on next episode. So. What the hell? I don't even know what's going on anymore. I've been Miami connected. But for Jim and for Jack and for Nick, I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and thanks for listening to the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special treat for you today. We have a new house band with a new dimension in rock and roll. We have the one, the only, Dragon Sound!
This band is the only family I had.
They're all black belts in taekwondo and they're pretty bad.
I don't want you to mess it up by going out with a second-rate musician like that John character.
They came in here to play goddamn songs for kids! Not escape the Miami Ninja!
Everybody's dead. Friends through eternity, loyalty, honesty will stay together through thick or thin. Friends forever will be together. We're on top 'cause we play to win.
Brawler is an indie drama that is currently on VOD formats before coming out in theaters in New Orleans September 7 and in LA September 13. Nathan Graps and Mark Center star as two brothers who brutally fight matches in the vicious underworld of a mob-run system in New Orleans. There is an exclusive clip on the web that shows one of the brothers trying to tell Kat, played by Paul James, how much he loves her. The movie is directed by Chris Silverstein.